What's up, guys? Robert Rule of 2 Review here, and today we finally had another great Nintendo Direct. Okay, well, today's video is a little bit late in two respects. One respect is, of course, the fact that the Nintendo Direct in question is about 3 days old now. It's Sunday, the day that I'm recording. The Nintendo Direct actually aired on Thursday, and that leads me to the other reason that the video is a little bit late is I just haven't been able to make a news video in quite a few days. It's just kind of been a really busy time, a lot of things going on, both gaming related and just real life related, and it's kind of what it is. I like the idea of doing a video every day or every other day or so on the news side, but sadly I just haven't been able to. So, with the Nintendo Direct news and everything that happened on Thursday, as the huge Nintendo fan I am, I of course owed it to myself and you guys as my listeners and followers to touch on all of the really awesome news that happened from Nintendo just a few days ago. Okay, so apologies for my tardiness over. Let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. As I had said, and as I'm sure you probably knew, Nintendo had their first Nintendo Direct in quite a while, just a few days ago. I kind of wanted to touch on my feelings on the Nintendo Directs as a whole. As a huge Nintendo fan, I'm sure you might even be curious exactly how I feel about those things, especially since pretty much over the last 6 months to almost a year, with all the hubbub about the Wii U and how it didn't perform very well for so long, a lot of people were very critical of Nintendo and, even more directly of Satoru Iwata, who is the gentleman who's really responsible for that. Now, I like Iwata. I've talked about him a few times in some of my more recent videos about Nintendo. I think there are a lot of things he or Nintendo could still change about how some of the operations happen around him and due to his decisions. But on the whole, I still really like him. I think he's mostly done good things for Nintendo, and if he shapes himself up in some of the decisions they've been making, I think that he can continue to be a strong president for the company and that they can, continue to turn things around, which they've already done, to be honest. So as far as the Nintendo Directs go, I think that, despite people's criticism about them, I think that they are the right idea. And I think that when they're executed well and when they actually have the kind of substance and things that we would want to hear from them, they are fantastic. I actually think they have the potential to be great. The best example of that would have been last year's around this time, last January, which was when they announced I think they showed the first trailer for Bayonetta 2. They talked about Mario Kart. No, Mario Kart was at E3. The Zelda Wind Waker HD remake. Some other stuff on Pokemon. I don't even remember. Those are the few things that stick out in my mind. But there was a lot of solid, amazing information. That might have been the reveal of X too, I think. Monolith's X. I think that was a reveal for that. And if that's not one of my most anticipated games in a long time, I don't know what is, and I hope that that's something you're also looking forward to. And I'll touch on that later in the video. But so, that's an example of how they could be great. And there's been some examples where they're not great. I think that what you run into with these is that we always want, as Nintendo fans and as just gamers, I think when we know that they're coming, we always want revelatory information. We want something new. I mean, that's what you want from anybody. So Nintendo happens to be a company that brings a lot of their information to their fans and to the gaming community via these internet Nintendo Directs. And so, of course, whenever we hear about one or we envision the perfect one, we think, oh, a brand new game reveal, a brand new IP, a brand new piece of hardware, something that is going to blow our minds, the quote unquote megaton. And, we really have to have learned at this point that that's not quite what Nintendo uses them for. And that's okay. Even though it would be nice to get, brand new information all the time, it's really okay the way they've handled it. They did a wonderful 101 specific one, and they showed a bunch of Monster Hunter stuff over the last year and previews. And we usually get great information about stuff we already know. And so that's still a good thing. As much as new information or new game reveals and stuff would be exciting, it's honestly nice just to get information about stuff we already know, provided that it's good information and, qualifies as awesome surprises. And so this last Nintendo Direct was mostly that. It was one of the best Nintendo Directs in a while, so I've got to give Nintendo props. I'm glad that they were able to do this. Most people seem to be reacting positively about it, and I think deservedly so. So I'm going to touch on, the few things that I thought were big items and, really exciting pieces of news for me and probably for most of you guys as well. Because like I said, there was kind of a lot of it. Okay, so the first awesome piece of news that I want to just get out of the way was the reveal of Little Mac in the upcoming Smash Brothers, and that was really cool. It's always exciting to get the Smash Brothers reveals periodically leading up to the game. I think it's one of the best things about Smash Brothers, beyond just how awesome those games are and how well they're going to sell, or this one is going to sell, I should say, is that they're just systematically designed very cleverly to give us these periodic, like a slow burn up until the game where we always get new information via character reveals. And that's cool because Nintendo, they're very smart with the marketing on this, which is ironic because marketing has been an area they've really struggled with the last 2 years. But this is something that they do a really good job at because they always just make these trailers that kind of exploit the awesome idea of the mashup between this character from this universe and these characters from these other universes all together in one game, which is what Smash Brothers is, and it's what it's always been and what helps make it great. And so the trailers are always very cleverly and funly designed to kind of play on that and how much we enjoy that. So the reveal of Little Mac was really neat. It was nice to get another brand new character. I guess Rosalina was a new character. And going back to E3, of course, like the Wii Fit Girl and the Villager and stuff, Mega Man, which is huge. Then we started getting a lot of reveals lately of people we already knew were probably going to be in the game, like Zelda and stuff like that. So it's nice to get something that we haven't seen in any form in any previous Smash Brothers. I think except for a Little Mac trophy in Melee, or maybe it was Brawl. So the Little Mac trailer is also just a great trailer. They usually are this way. This one's cool because it's the Little Mac design more akin to the Wii Punch-Out than it is the old school one, which is totally fine for me. I think he works better for, an HD next-gen Smash Brothers game on the Wii U in 2014. He looks more like he belongs in this game. The trailer is really awesome, which I will link below because it uses like kind of a sketchy pseudo cell shaded style, not exactly the cell shaded style that was featured in Punch Out for the Wii, but it's this, you'll recognize the kind of style once you actually see it, if in fact you haven't. But it's really beautiful. It's really fun and well done. It's got this cool sort of, play on this remix of the classic training Mike Tyson's Punch Out theme where he's running with I can't remember his trainer's name. I'm brain farting him, but he's running with him on the bike, and it's really neat, And it showed a lot of the cool moves and some of the power moves he had. What's interesting is, and I don't know if this is going to lend to the whole game or if this is going to be unique to Little Mac as a character, but in the trailer, there's a scene where we can see they focus in on this to show you that it's going to happen. Like he has some sort of meter where probably by performing well consistently or landing a bunch of combos without taking damage, something to that effect, I'm sure, he built up, a meter that gave him the ability to use some ultimate knockout punch thing, like a special move. And it said, press this button now. And he got this ultimate kick-ass punch and knocked all three competitors right off the screen. And it was really, really neat. And it made me... I kind of feel like it would be cool if maybe they're using this concept, if they're using this concept to apply to all of the characters in the game, and if it's going to be something that might even replace the Super Smash, if maybe not even replace it, but be the same idea, only a different version, whereas everyone has their own little power meter that they build up to release some sort of other special move that's unique to that character and his or her strengths and the universe they come from. So that would, of course, be awesome. Even though I really liked the Super Smashes, or Final Smashes, I think they were called. I actually really dug those. A lot of people didn't, and I don't know why. I thought they were super cool. So if they brought those back, awesome. If they use these to replace it, awesome as well. But the other neat thing would actually be if it was unique to his character. Because if it's unique to his character, what that says to me is they are probably going to be working even harder with all of the characters to give them a lot of unique feels and functions and moves. And I think that that's something that, even though the Smash Brothers formula is all but perfect, I feel like that would be one of the last great best things that they could do to further give all the characters their own identity within the Smash Brothers game. So that's kind of a neat little thing to look at. And I don't know if I'll do some research. It may be honestly common information that this is something that's brought into the game, or maybe it was something brand new for the trailer, which I feel it was. If it's something that's common information, then I actually somehow did not know that. So we'll just pretend like that's not really the case. So either way, the Smash Brothers stuff, Little Mac, that was a really cool reveal. So good on you, Nintendo, for releasing a kick-ass trailer for Smash Brothers. So the next thing that I want to talk about, which is something that is just personally super exciting to me, as it is to most people. I mean, everyone is excited for this, but I really, really liked this one as well, is they released another new trailer for Bayonetta 2. So nothing really revelatory there, because of course we all know about the game. We've seen lots of E3 footage last year, and we've seen 2 trailers for the game, and they've all been fantastic. And this newest one is no exception. What I really like about this newest one, as somebody who is so pumped for that game, is it kind of leads a little bit more into the story of this game and lets you see how deep the characters and the plight of Bayonetta and the other characters involved are going to be in this game. And I really, really like seeing that. I mean, you can see how hard Platinum Games and Hideki Kamiya, who is producing it, not directing it, but how hard they are, how hard they're working at this game to really make sure it's the best experience it can be. It's definitely taking advantage of the hardware. So it's nice seeing a really beautiful next-gen Bayonetta. I mean, that game already looked good just on the 360 alone. To have the advantage of more power going into this new generation on the Wii U is really, really cool. And it showed a lot of cool things that we hadn't seen. I mean, there was the demo that has been playable in a lot of the conventions over the last year or so, from E3 and I think Tokyo Game Show and stuff like that, Gamescom, where the game was and it was playable. All we've seen from people attending the show is the same footage of the same level early on, where they're fighting on this fighter jet going through a city. And that stuff is super cool, but we've seen it. I mean, that's all we've seen, actually. So this showed a bunch of stuff from what I can only assume is going to be later in the game. And it showed a little bit of the shop buying mechanic and stuff too, which was very big in Bayonetta, and actually all of Platinum Games' stuff. Mad World and actually I didn't play Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, but Mad World and Wonderful 101 both use that stuff perfectly. And so, as did the first Bayonetta. So it's cool kind of seeing that for this one. And the last thing on that is it'll be really exciting to see what kind of touchscreen stuff they have taking advantage of the gamepad. When they showed a bunch of it at E3 last year, there was Nintendo had a bunch of videos talking to all the different producers and designers at Nintendo and at different studios who were making games for the Wii U. And they didn't speak, I don't think, to Hideki Kamiya. Maybe they did, but they spoke to somebody, about specifically Bayonetta 2, and there was a 8-minute video online about it. And they actually showed, he was talking a little bit about how the gamepad is going to be utilized, basically stating it's going to be utilized, not really going into too much detail. But there was some exclusive footage through that interview that you could watch. And it did show some people, they were actually using the stylus. So that's kind of weird. I don't know how that's going to work. But there was somebody playing the game using the stylus, doing some sort of touchscreen motions or something there. I feel like if you're familiar with Bayonetta at all, the way that her super moves will play out when you get them locked into something and you commit to the super move and you press all these buttons a whole bunch of time or move the joystick all around in a circle, stuff like that. If they incorporate that into touchscreen mechanics, then I think that could end up being really cool. If they do it right. If they don't do it right, it could become cumbersome and awkward, but I believe that they're going to make sure that it works well within the confines of a crazy balls to the wall, fast paced, action kicking Bayonetta experience. I mean, you've got to make sure it works perfectly. The Wonderful 101 borrowed a lot of ideas from Bayonetta, and it was also a very fast paced, crazy game. And they found a way to make that touchscreen work beautifully to actually enhance the game and make it better. So, Bayonetta is also their baby. That's kind of what they cut their teeth on and really made their big name off of. So I feel like they're going to make sure that it works well. I think it's going to be just fine for the game. But I mean, of course, that remains to be seen. Either way, another fantastic trailer for an amazing game coming up for the Wii U, the Bayonetta 2 trailer. It's about 2.5 minutes, and I will post it below so you can check it out yourself. Okay, so the last thing I am going to touch on personally in this video, just because it's the last thing that excites me so much I want to spend a few minutes on it, is going to be, finally, we saw some uninterrupted, no CG cutscenes, having gameplay footage of X, Monolith's X, which I referred to earlier in this video. That game, I cannot even stress to you guys how excited I am for that game. I'm sure most of you are as well. Everyone's been a buzz about it ever since it was first shown. That game is basically finally being confirmed as the sequel to Xenoblade that we always knew it was, or at least a game existing within that universe, because it actually seems like it could be, well, I don't want to say a prequel, but it could be much farther down the road. I don't know if it's going to be relating to the characters in Xenoblade, basically, or the same time period. However, it is definitely that universe. There's a lot going on relating to that game. It's from Monolith. It's called X. It's got the same X logo as Xenoblade. It's frickin' Xenoblade. And it's just, Xenoblade is probably one of my top 10 games of the last decade or two. It is that good. I really hope you've played it. And if you haven't, you need to stop watching this video right now. Go spend the $1 jillion everyone is charging you for it. Buy and play the shit out of that game, because it is a masterpiece. So all the stuff we've seen about X, this last year and a half or so since that was first revealed, has been great in the sense that you can tell it's a gigantic world. It is, there's a lot of substance to the game. There's going to be a very deep story. The locations and everything that everywhere you go just look amazing. Visually, it's beautiful. It might be the best looking Wii U game and really show people how next gen the console really is. So I'm excited to see that coming out. And so the gameplay footage, I'm going to try to, that's actually really hard to find for some reason, but I'll see if I can find a video and put a link below because I really, really want you to watch that footage. It basically is just, 2 or so minutes of someone playing through a battle of a few different animals and robot enemies in the middle of a field, which is very much how Xenoblade played out as well. And what's interesting to note is, and I want to actually confirm this, so I'll get to that in a moment, but what's really neat is it uses and I can't remember now because it's been a while since I've played it, but it uses like the bubble attack mechanic where you have this, it's real time, but also kind of turn-based at the same time, where the battlefield is in real time and you move around and your attacks are based on your proximity to the enemies and things like that. So it's not a turn-based kind of game, but you have these action bubbles that are at the bottom of the screen when you engage in combat, and they give you the ability, you switch between them while going, and I believe I've heard it likened to Final Fantasy X, I think, as far as its real-time battle system. I have not played Final Fantasy X, so if I'm wrong, then don't crucify me because I'm just going off of what I thought I heard. But you move around the battlefield, like I said, in real time, and as you get close to the enemies, you kind of attack automatically with just basic attacks, but you have the ability to cycle through this menu at the bottom of the screen of these little bubble attacks that give you different offensive and defensive moves, special moves. In Xenoblade specifically, you're using the Monado. That is the name of the blade, the Xenoblade that your main character Shulk has. And you have a very specific move set within the bubble system for Monado-related abilities, offensive and defensive. And it was really cool, and it was so much fun. Very, very deep and complex, while still actually pretty straightforward and simple. So it's kind of what helped to make that game so good. And like I said, Iwata even referenced this, I can't remember if it was what he said, before or after the trailer played, but he confirmed how it's using the same kind of battle system as Xenoblade Chronicles. Like, he mentions that verbatim. He officially quoted X as in relation to Xenoblade. So that even further proves to myself and to everybody how much this is another Xenoblade game. So, there's really not a whole lot more to say about that other than it was nice to finally see it. It looks amazing. It looks so fun. It's back in that Xenoblade world, the Mechonis and the Bionis. And it is gorgeous. It's so pretty. Oh my gosh. I've always said that I'm not the guy who puts graphics first and thinks that makes or break a good game. And I still am sticking by that. But of course, it is always nice when games look good. And because there's the visual conversation surrounding the Wii U amongst gamers anyway, I figured I would just at least emphasize how good the game looks. It is stunning. And the other good thing is it was confirmed, as it was for Bayonetta 2 also, I forgot to mention that, but for both X and Bayonetta 2, confirmed via this Nintendo Direct 2014. So, fuck yes. Definitely something that I think we always kind of knew and they had been saying, but we never got the 100% confirmation until Iwata said it during this Nintendo Direct. So that's just marvelous, marvelous news. And it further iterates how I just have said many times that the Wii U honestly is probably going to have the best lineup, throughout the entirety of 2014, over the other two next gen systems. That's both last gen and the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. I think it's going to have the best lineup overall, especially of exclusives. So that's really good news. So anyway, I hope you're as excited for X as I am. So definitely please go and check out that video if, in fact, I'm able to find it and post it below. Okay, so that's going to be it for the Nintendo Direct for February that I'm going to touch on today. There was a lot of other great information too. They talked about the next Mario Golf, which is amazing. I've been losing my mind about that because Mario Golf is a genre and generation-defining game. I am so hooked on that series, so that was great news that you, of course, can look up below as well. They talked about the new Kirby game for the 3DS, which looks really good. The reveal of the Koopalings as playable characters, I think all 4 or 5 or so of them in Mario Kart 8, and they look actually great. So that's another fantastic trailer and great information. So please go and seek that out as well. But I just wanted to talk on those 3 main points because those were the biggest ones and also just to me personally, the ones that got me the most excited. So that's all that news. I hope it got you pumped and I hope you enjoyed the Nintendo Direct and seeing some of the stuff that I was able to post below. As always, if you like what I'm doing, please feel free to subscribe, like, and share the video. And of course, share your comments and your thoughts below. Thanks as always for tuning in as well. And I will catch you guys next time.